Topic that we were assigned was the hybrid drivetrain. I'm doing the economic decision making, Josh is doing the engineering economics, Deeb is doing solid mechanics, and finally Joey's going to do the thermodynamics. We chose three cars to analyze. The 2019 Mitsubishi Mirage, which is a gas car, the 2019 Ioniq Blue, which is a hybrid car, and finally the Tesla Model S, which is an electric car. All right. For the 2019 Ioniq, the MSRP is $22,400. Down payment is $2,000, and the APR is 1.9%. However, that remains constant through the 36 to 72 months. Mitsubishi Mirage, the MSRP is $13,795. The down payment is $1,479, and the APR is 0% only for 48 months. However, as the months go, the APR is going to increase. However, the monthly payments are going to decrease. Tesla Model S is priced at $75,750 after gas savings and the tax credit. The down payment is $10,000, and the APR is 3.75 for 72 months. And within those 72 months, you have to pay $1,184 for each month. The Tesla Model S is the cheapest car out of the three because it is electric. However, the down payment charge and the MSRP are going to stray some consumers away, especially the average consumer. A better option is the 2019 Mitsubishi Mirage, which is a gas car, but has a 0% APR for 48 months. The other option is the 2019 Ioniq Blue, which has a higher APR at 1.9%. However, that remains the constant for the full period. Either if you choose 36 months or 72 months, it's still 1.9%. Also, the option of leasing is available. However, the idea that there's higher down payment charge and also maintenance costs are going to stray people away from that option. Also, I forgot to mention one thing. For the 2019 Mitsubishi Mirage and the 2019 Ioniq Blue, I forgot to mention the monthly payments. However, that also depends on which plan you choose, either if it's going to be 48 months, 72 months, or whatever time period you choose.
When you compare the prices of an electric car, a gas car, and hybrid car, they kind of fluctuate. And there's a couple factors that come into play when you want to choose the kind of car that you want to use. So the gas car is the cheapest, the hybrid car is the second cheapest, and the electric car is the most expensive. Now I'm looking at a Mitsubishi gas car, a Hyundai hybrid car, and a Tesla electric car. Now, when it comes to yearly gas costs, the hybrid car is the cheapest. When it comes to distance, the hybrid car goes the farthest. And when it comes to efficiency, the electric car wins. So the gas car seems like it's in last place, but if you don't make a lot of money, most people would buy a gas car because it's the easiest to afford. Less people buy electric cars because it's the most expensive. Now, I would opt for the hybrid vehicle because it's about in the middle for price. If you can't afford to just buy the car, you could always lease. And when you lease over 3 years, the Tesla is at $19,000, the Mitsubishi is at $9,000, and the Hyundai is at $11,000. So over 3 years. So the Hyundai and the Mitsubishi are fairly close in price. The down payments are very close as well when you're first starting. So it's a little more manageable to get the gas car, but you'd always want to get the hybrid car because not only does it go farther and it's more efficient, it's also a lot more eco-friendly. Now, when it comes to repairs, the batteries for the electric car and the hybrid car could be really expensive versus the gas car. Now you always have your repairs, but the repairs for gas cars are not nearly as much as it would be for a hybrid car and an electric car. So as time goes on, as long as you're not working in a place where you have to drive over 100 miles a day, as long as you're not doing that, over time, the electric car would be the greatest bet because there's a lot of free charging that you can use at parking garages. You could free charge at home, and your car is also very eco-friendly. But being realistic, you'd want to opt for a hybrid car because you get the best of both worlds. It's like an in the middle. You can drive very far, you get more miles per gallon, but the car comes with a lot of expenses when it comes to repairs and just maintenance fees in general. So in the short run, you want to opt for the hybrid vehicle because not only does it have the farthest distance and the most miles per gallon, it is also a perfect in-between for a consumer when it comes to the price. Now, you make up for some of the gas costs because you have an electric and a gas vehicle. So, and on top of that, you can drive a lot farther. You make up for the gas costs because if you run out of gas, you have an electric, and the gas and electric and most hybrid cars works at the same time. And if you can't afford an entire car and you want to lease for like 3 years, a 3-year lease for the hybrid vehicle is almost 12,000, and the 3-year lease for a gas vehicle is almost 10,000. So the price is pretty close, and you get more mileage, you get more distance, and it's a lot more efficient than the gas vehicle. It's a lot less expensive as well than the electric vehicle, but it also goes farther than the electric vehicle.
When talking about solid mechanics for hybrid drivetrains, we're talking about the forces applied to the wheels in order to propel the car, as well as the energy transported throughout the system. There are four kinds of hybrid drivetrains in the world today: the parallel hybrid, the series hybrid, the series parallel hybrid, and the most modern one, the power split. In a parallel hybrid, there's an electrical motor and a combustion engine, which are both connected to the wheels. There's also a full-size traction motor integrated with the transmission. The wheels are propelled by either the motor engine or the electrical motor independently. For a series hybrid, the combustion engine is connected to a generator instead of directly being connected to the wheels. The generator uses that mechanical energy to charge a battery and power the electrical motor, which can provide the power to the wheels in order to propel the car. It also uses the generator as a backup in cases of emergency. A series parallel hybrid is very similar to a parallel hybrid, but the electrical motor and the combustion engine can be used independently or at the same time in order to power split and propel the car at the same time. The power split hybrid is the most modern kind of hybrid drivetrain, which splits the power between an engine and the generator in order to provide the reduction gears with enough energy to propel the wheels. The generator and the battery propel the motor, which drives the wheels. It also has a full traction motor integrated with the transmission, which allows it to have high tractive capabilities. The car we researched was the Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid. This is a fully parallel hybrid drivetrain. It has a 104 HP gasoline engine and a 32 kilowatt electrical motor. This means that the car can draw energy from either the combustion engine or the electrical motor independently. When the battery is depleted, the vehicle switches to hybrid mode in itself. The Tesla Model 3, which is one of the newest designs released by Tesla, uses a new kind of hybrid drivetrain called the AWD, dual motor all-electric powertrain. This uses two independent motors on the front and back wheels attached independently. There's a dynamic shift power between the motors from the rear to the front. Mechanical energy in the wheels is provided by each motor. When one of the motors fails, the other one kicks in as a backup and provides enough energy to move all four wheels.
So I'm just going to go over the different thermodynamic efficiencies of different drivetrains for hybrid, electric, and gas powered vehicles. So for gas powered, the 120 megajoules worth of energy that you put in, so that's about 1 gallon of gas, you're going to end up with about 15% of that energy actually being used as work to the wheels. Now, all this is going to depend on your weather, the temperature outside, how you drive, what kind of vehicle is it? Is it a all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive? Is it a manual transmission, automatic transmission? How is the person driving, right? Like, are you flooring it at every light? Are you braking when you don't really need to? Are you driving in a city? Are you driving on the highway? So there's a lot of little factors that also kind of affect those efficiencies. Those are kind of more external factors, though. There is going to be an uncontrollable internal factor, which is just the mechanical function of your vehicle and how it works. But so again, for the most part, most of your energy in a gas vehicle is going to be lost through heat and friction in the engine. And that's going to be about, anywhere from 60 to 70%. Again, really depends on your engine and how you're driving it. If you're trying to drive faster, obviously it's going to be a little bit less efficient. So that's going to be your first big hit. That's going to be the biggest hit. Then you have your idling loss, which is going to be about 17 to 15%. Again, probably more so like 2%, obviously, or like down to 1% if you're just driving on the highway all the time because you're not stopping with your engine on. So that idling loss is really just a big hit in the city where there's just stoplights everywhere. Then you're going to have your accessories, which isn't going to be that big of a hit. I mean, it's anywhere from 2 to 5. It really just depends on your vehicle as well. I mean, do you have your AC on? Are you charging a bunch of phones or a bunch of lights on your vehicle? I mean, that's going to be kind of your accessory loss. It's going to be more so of a loss for electric vehicles than it is for gas vehicles. Then you have your driveline losses, right? So pretty much your transmission all the way down to your rear or even front axle, and then your rear differential over to the wheels. How much power is going to be lost there really depends on your vehicle and again how you drive, but it can be anywhere from like 10 to 5%. It really depends. I mean, if you have like a big truck with a huge rear diff, that's probably going to be a bigger hit than a small little Honda Civic or whatever. So that's going to be another one of your losses. And then finally, you're going to get a loss through your rolling resistance, which is just the inertia of your wheels resisting movement. So this really depends on how big, how wide your wheels are, the diameter and the weight of the wheel. And you're going to lose some energy in that too. So all in all, you're looking at about 15% out of those 120 megajoules that you put into your engine or into your vehicle. So, I mean, to the wheels, you're looking at about like 20 to 30 megajoules of energy, which is, out of those 120, that's pretty bad. All the way down to like 10 if you're just driving like a maniac and just flooring it at every light. So then for electric vehicles, you're going to kind of have the similar losses. One of the biggest differences, though, is first of all, you're not going to have those braking losses, right? So for gas engines, it's about 6 to 7% for a braking loss. The best is about 5.8%. That's kind of like best case scenario if you're not braking too much. For electric vehicles, you're pretty much going to regenerate some of that braking loss, right? So instead of it being 5%, it's going to be about 2.5, right? So when you're going down a hill, it's going to just simply that motor is just going to charge the battery instead of using energy from the battery. So that's already going to be a pretty big significant bonus. And the hybrid vehicles do this as well. So it's not just electric vehicles. Now, then the other big difference also is your idling loss. There is no idling loss in a hybrid and especially an electric motor. For a hybrid, it depends on if the battery needs to be charged. So, if you're at a stoplight and your motor is still, or your engine is still on and it's a hybrid vehicle, it's probably because the battery needs to be charged. So it's just going to be on to charge it. So then for your electric vehicle too, your motor's just going to be way more efficient, right? Motors are anywhere from like 90 to 98% efficient, so you're only going to have about a 10 to 2% loss in power, which is not bad. Your biggest hit for electric vehicles is going to be your charging loss. Now, this is more of an external loss. It's not really an internal, in the moment driving loss, but it still counts. That's going to be about 15 to like 20%, again, depending on a lot of factors, depending on your charger, depending on how you're charging it, if you're charging it sporadically or if you're charging it once every night. So that's going to be about 15 to 20%. That's a pretty big hit. And that's just going to be from heat, right? Like when you're charging your batteries or your phone or whatever, it gets hot. That's where that loss comes from. It's just heat radiating from that charging. So again, that's going to be a pretty big hit for electric vehicles. But if you don't count that, electric vehicles in and of themselves are really efficient. Especially like, for example, the Tesla, their motors are just directly connected to the rear wheels, right? So meaning that you don't really have as much of a loss in the driveline, and there's no transmission or anything either, so it's just straight up power. So again, an electric vehicle, at the end of everything, by the time you get all that power to the wheels, you're looking at about 80 to 90 megajoules of energy out of those 120, which is much better than a gas engine. Now for a hybrid, which is going to kind of mix both of these technologies together, the great thing about a hybrid is, first of all, you don't get that idling loss, and you get that regenerative power from braking, which is, it's a nice little bonus. It's not huge, but it does make a small impact. Another big deal is that, so motors are much more efficient in stop and go situations, right? So I would say that a hybrid vehicle definitely has its merit when it comes to driving in a city versus just driving on the highway. Driving on the highway, it's pretty much going to have the same efficiency as your most gas efficient vehicle, right? Because your motor isn't really going to be doing much work at that point. Hybrid vehicles really make their mark in the city, in that stop and go environment, where that motor can just take over, just starting that vehicle rolling, and then when you stop again, you don't have that whole idling loss, you don't have that horrible efficiency hit from just having your engine just put your car into movement and then stop again and then move again.